At Grand Hills Country Club, the rehearsal dinner sparkled with ambition and old money, but a quiet humiliation was being prepared.
Mr. Sato, your seat is over here. The family requested a special area for staff and others.
The table stood in the farthest corner, miles from the main table, aglow with candles and laughter. A placard in silver script announced, "Staff, Family."
So it is starting already. I expected something like this.
Riku's eyes darted toward the corner. His jaw tensed, but he turned back to Reina without a word.
Look at him, all alone and forgotten. Perfect.
Well done, darling. He is exactly where he belongs.
To the happy couple, may your future be as bright as these chandeliers and as exclusive as this club.
Hiroshi unfolded his napkin with slow precision. The night stretched ahead, thick with something he had endured for months.
Be patient, for Riku's sake.
The clink of a glass demanded silence. Reina's father rose from his seat, chest swelling with fresh pride.
But most importantly, this celebration is held in our family's country club. For generations, the Saitos have reigned here.
Indubitably. No venue is grander or more fitting for our precious Reina.
Riku's gaze drifted toward the corner table. His stepfather sat motionless, a statue of quiet patience.
Our family's club? I remember when this marble hall was just a sketch on my drafting table.
Reina followed Riku's eyes and locked onto Hiroshi. Her lips curled into a slow, deliberate smile.
Only the very best for my daughter. That is why we are here, in the finest club in the region.
Hiroshi's fingers tightened around the stem of his champagne glass. The crystal quivered for only a heartbeat.
I should say something, but every word would just make it worse for him.
And tomorrow, the wedding will be the talk of the city. Our club, our triumph.
3 months earlier, the Saito family had gathered in a private dining room of their own club. The conversation turned sharp.
Riku, it is time to restore your proper surname. Carrying a stepfather's name looks weak.
But Hiroshi raised me after my mother passed. I cannot just erase that.
He is a retired architect with no standing. Our family name carries weight. You need that.
Daddy is right, Riku. A fresh start with a proper name.
This is non-negotiable. The wedding cannot proceed otherwise.
They will never see him as I do. He gave me everything.
Please, Riku, do this for us, for our future.
Riku's shoulders dropped. Silence became his answer. Now, in the rehearsal dinner, the same weight pressed on Hiroshi as he watched from the shadows. In the quiet of the corner table, Hiroshi's hand slipped into his pocket and found an old photograph. He remembered teaching Riku to ride a bike, running beside him until the wobbling finally stopped. He stayed up late for school projects, coffee in hand, listening to a nervous boy rehearse.
He is my son, even if not by blood.
At every school play, Hiroshi sat in the front row, clapping until his hands stung, and he cheered louder than anyone at baseball games, his voice hoarse by the final inning. Now, on the eve of the wedding, those memories felt as distant as the main table's laughter.
None of them ever asked about those days. They never wanted to know.
But his patience was forged from a love that had already survived greater losses.
I will endure, for him.
Mrs. Saito rose from the main table and crossed the marble floor, heels clicking with deliberate intent.
Oh, Hiroshi, you must feel so at home here. After all, you are practically family staff, are you not?
I am just grateful to be here for Riku. That is enough for me.
A few guests stared. Riku's hand tightened around his glass until his knuckles whitened.
Do not even think about it. It will ruin the entire evening.
He raised me. How can I let them treat him like this?
But Riku remained frozen, Reina's fingers pressing into his arm like a promise of trouble. Hiroshi simply inclined his head and returned to his untouched entree as if nothing had happened. Mrs. Saito sniffed, exchanged a satisfied glance with her husband, and swept back to her seat.
She has no idea what I know, but tonight is not the night.
Mr. Saito followed, pausing at the corner table with a thin smile that barely reached his eyes.
Hiroshi, Let us be honest. Important guests will arrive soon. Call it a night.
I will stay as long as Riku wants me here. This evening is for him, not for me.
Riku heard across the room. He half rose, but Reina's nails dug into his wrist with a silent command.
Your presence is surplus. The real family can manage from here.
Hiroshi set his napkin on the table with deliberate care and rose as if he were the one granting an audience.
I wish Riku every happiness. That has always been my only wish.
He bowed slightly toward the main table, then walked out, his footsteps quiet but certain on the marble.
He deserves so much more, and I am too weak to give it to him.
The door closed. The Saitos exchanged satisfied smiles. But for Riku, the sound was a door slamming shut on everything that mattered. In the silent foyer under crystal light, an elderly man in a gray suit recognized Hiroshi and smiled.
Still holding back, Hiroshi. One word from you could change everything tonight.
Not tonight, Mr. Aoki. Riku deserves a peaceful celebration, not a scene.
The board chair's eyes held a knowing glimmer. He placed a fatherly hand on Hiroshi's shoulder.
The founding contract never forgets its architect, Hiroshi. Neither do I.
I appreciate that. But this is not the time to bring up old documents.
Mr. Aoki nodded slowly and withdrew a familiar leather portfolio from inside his suit.
When you are ready, this will remind everyone who truly built this place.
Thank you. I will know when the right moment comes.
They parted ways in the empty hall, but the air had shifted, a quiet promise waiting for dawn. The next morning dawned clear and cold. Hiroshi stood before his mirror, threading cufflinks with steady hands. He picked up the photo from the dresser, a younger him with a gap-toothed boy, both grinning.
Today is your day, Riku. I will smile no matter what they try.
He tucked the photograph into his pocket, next to the leather portfolio that held the truth of 30 years. His pocket square needed adjusting. He did it slowly, as he had done before every important day.
If they seat me in the corner again, I will not flinch. This is not about me.
He checked his watch and took a final look around the quiet apartment, a man with nothing to prove and everything to protect.
Mr. Aoki's words echo. One word could change everything, but not today, not yet.
He stepped into the hallway and closed the door gently behind him, the leather portfolio pressed against his heart. The wedding was hours away, but the real battle had already begun, inside the man who refused to become his enemy. Hiroshi's car pulled up to the grand entrance. The marble columns cast long shadows across the drive.
Mr. Sato, welcome. The Saito family has arranged a private holding room for you. Please follow me.
Her clipboard trembled as she gestured away from the main hallway, toward a quiet corridor.
Just as I expected. Another corner, another quiet dismissal.
He nodded and followed, his footsteps steady on the marble. No protest, no surprise. At that moment, Riku stepped out from a dressing room and froze, watching Hiroshi disappear into the side hall.
They are hiding him already, even on my wedding day.
Before he could take a step, a best man grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the photo session. Hiroshi was shown into a small room with a single window and a pitcher of water, far from the buzzing preparations.
This room holds 30 years of my work. They have no idea.
Across the club, in a cloud of tulle and perfume, Reina studied her reflection while her mother circled.
That man is not really family today. Focus only on your new life with Riku.
But Riku loves him. Every time we push Hiroshi away, Riku's eyes dim.
Hesitation is weakness. Do not let a retired nobody ruin what we have built.
Reina's fingers stilled on the diamond choker. For 3 heartbeats, something uncertain flickered in her eyes. Then she straightened her spine, smoothed the blush-pink silk, and forced the familiar smile back onto her lips.
You are right, Mother. Only our future matters today.
The mask clicked back into place with practiced ease, but behind it, a tiny crack had formed.
Perhaps I should see Hiroshi before the ceremony, just to make sure he is okay.
But her mother's hand on her shoulder steered her back toward the flowers and away from the thought. Moments before the ceremony, Riku slipped past the photographers and found his stepfather in the quiet holding room.
I'm sorry about last night. About everything. You don't deserve any of this.
I didn't raise you to be a coward. Today we'll both hold our heads high.
Hiroshi placed a steady hand on Riku's shoulder, the same hand that had caught him when he fell off his bike.
Dad, I wish I had your strength.
You have more than you know. Marry the woman you love, and that will be enough for me.
They embraced, two men in tuxedos, holding on in a room full of ghosts and gratitude.
He never asks for anything. I need to be bolder.
When they parted, both stood straighter. The weight had not lifted, but they carried it together now.
Go. Your bride is waiting. I will see you at the altar.
Soft violin notes filled the chapel as the ceremony began. Hiroshi took his seat in the last row, miles from the family.
I, Riku, take you, Reina, to be my wife. I promise to cherish every day we have.
He has become a fine man. I am proud to be his father, even from back here.
I, Reina, take you, Riku, to be my husband. I promise to stand by you no matter the storm.
A single white petal drifted from the flower arrangement, catching the light as it fell. Hiroshi watched his son slip the ring onto Reina's finger, and a single tear rolled down his cheek.
Your mother would be so proud.
The officiant pronounced them husband and wife, and the chapel erupted in applause, a sound that did not reach the back row. Hiroshi clapped, his hands slow but steady, his joy undiminished by the distance. As the guests rose to leave for the reception, no one glanced his way. The invisible man stood last. The reception hall glowed with opulence, a head table elevated like a throne, surrounded by lesser tables. A discreet staff member approached Hiroshi and guided him to a small, unlit table near the service door.
Your seat, Mr. Sato. The family was very specific.
The corners of this room are becoming familiar territory.
Two guests at a nearby table glanced over, confusion flickering in their eyes. One whispered, "Who is that man all alone?" Her neighbor shrugged, more interested in refilling her champagne.
This is the last time they put me in the corner. I will make sure of it.
He sat and unfolded his napkin with slow precision, a quiet echo of the rehearsal dinner. Around him, the room buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses, but he sat in a pocket of silence. At the head table, Mr. Saito raised his glass, basking in the glow of his own self-importance. The MC tapped the microphone and announced Mr. Saito with exaggerated reverence, as if introducing royalty.
Thank you. Today I address you not only as a father, but as the steward of this magnificent club. For decades, the Saito name has been a guarantee of sophistication. This hall is our family's monument.
His gaze swept the crowd and paused on the dark table, a smirk flickering at the corner of his mouth.
Even those who are not Saitos can surely appreciate the privilege of being here tonight.
Hiroshi's hand tightened imperceptibly around his water glass. His face remained a mask of perfect composure.
He lectures about what he does not own. This building remembers a different signature.
Approving murmurs rippled through the room as glasses were raised.
So tonight we raise our glasses to the happy couple and to the enduring legacy of our family.
Hiroshi set down his glass with a soft click and placed his hands in his lap, a calm decision crystallizing. As the room waited for the toast, a chair scraped softly near the service door. Hiroshi rose with unhurried dignity, his black tuxedo a quiet counterpoint to the glittering hall.
Pardon me, Mr. Saito. Before that toast, I have a small matter to share.
What is the meaning of this? We are here to celebrate.
Hiroshi turned to the wedding planner, his voice gentle but firm.
Miss Yamada, would you be so kind as to bring me the leather portfolio you safeguarded for me?
The planner hesitated, eyes darting to the Saitos, but Hiroshi's quiet authority compelled her nod. Riku's eyes widened, a flicker of hope and fear colliding as he watched his stepfather. Reina's father sputtered, his grip tightening on the microphone. but for the first time, no authority answered him. A thick silence settled as Hiroshi waited, his posture as composed as the blueprints he had once drafted. Miss Yamada returned, her steps unsteady, and placed the worn leather portfolio in Hiroshi's open hand. He unbuckled the clasp and let the old papers unfold, their yellowed edges whispering of 30 years.
When I was 28, I knelt on this very marble and finished the final draft of this club.
Gasps sliced through the room. Forks clattered, a champagne glass overturned. Hiroshi lifted a yellowed paper, signed and sealed, the original contract bearing his name as lead architect.
That's impossible. Anyone could forge an old piece of paper.
Every column, every chandelier, I recognize them like my own children. The blueprints are right here.
The room buzzed. An elderly woman whispered, "I remember the ribbon cutting. There was a young man there." Slowly, heads turned toward Mr. Saito, whose confident mask had cracked into something unrecognizable.
This club was built on my sweat and sleepless nights. I think I have the right to speak in it. Mr. Aoki, would you confirm what I have said? You were there at the beginning.
A dignified, silver-haired figure emerged from the tables, drawing a breath of awe from the guests.
Hiroshi Sato is not only the architect, he is a dear friend and an esteemed member of this club.
A member? He is just a retired nobody. What standing could he possibly have here?
The room buzzed with disbelief. Guests exchanged knowing glances, recognizing the board chair's authority. Mr. Aoki's hand still clasped Hiroshi's as if to pass along decades of unspoken loyalty.
I never sought titles, Mr. Saito, but this place? I helped breathe life into it.
This cannot be happening. A retired architect with this kind of influence?
Mr. Aoki stepped forward, his voice carrying across the silent hall. The truth is, this club has never forgotten its true founder. Reina's father gripped the podium, his world shrinking with each word from the board chair.
Per the founding contract, the architect retains an honorary seat on the board for life. Hiroshi Sato, you sit among us.
Honorary. It is a meaningless gesture. We still own this club.
Not quite, but let him talk. Pride always digs its own grave.
Mr. Saito's confidence flickered back, but his grip on the podium remained white-knuckled.
My family has leased space in the tower for decades. Our name is on the directory.
Leased, Mr. Saito, not owned, and the board seat carries more weight than you realize.
A murmur spread through the guests. The word leased landed like a stone in still water. Saito loosened his tie, a bead of sweat tracing his temple. He knew the tide was turning.
He is beginning to understand, but he still does not know the half of it.
Hiroshi remained motionless, a master of patience, waiting for the moment to reveal the final page.
I am a major stakeholder here. My family has been a pillar of this club for decades.
Then why won't he stop sweating? Why is his voice shaking?
Reina, something is not right. Your father, he is not telling the whole truth.
The guests were a sea of puzzled faces, some nodding in agreement with Saito, others eyeing the silent Hiroshi.
This is my daughter's wedding, and no honorary board seat will diminish my family's standing.
Reina's hand trembled as she reached for her water glass. Her mother shot her a sharp look, but she ignored it. Hiroshi remained statuesque, his eyes never leaving the father. The air grew heavier with each passing second.
What if my father has been lying all along? What if Hiroshi is the real owner?
The father's bravado hung in the air, but it was a cracked bell tolling a false note. Mr. Saito's voice cracked, and he bellowed toward the entrance, summoning the waiting security team.
Security. Remove this man at once. He is disrupting a family wedding.
No, he is my father. You will not throw him out.
Reina lunged and seized Riku's arm, her face a war of loyalty and confusion.
Before anyone touches me, let me say one more thing.
The guards hesitated, their eyes flicking to Mr. Aoki, who shook his head almost imperceptibly.
I said throw him out. Do you not know who I am?
I will not let you do this to him again. He has been through enough.
It is all right, Riku. The truth can withstand a little chaos.
Security awaited the board chair's signal, and the entire hall held its breath in the thickening silence.
Mr. Aoki, please read Clause 14 of the founding contract. Let everyone hear it.
Mr. Aoki's hand trembled as he opened the portfolio to the final page. The air grew heavier.
Clause 14. The honorary board member retains the right to veto any function he finds unbecoming, including weddings.
A collective gasp died before it could fully rise. The room fell into a vacuum of silence.
That cannot be. That clause is ancient history. It was never meant to be used.
His face drained of color. A portrait of a man who had just discovered the ground was made of glass.
Now they understand. This building has always been mine to protect.
The claws hung in the air, an invisible sword that could sever the wedding in a single stroke. Every eye in the room locked onto Hiroshi, waiting for the word that could end everything. Riku tore free from Reina's grip and crossed the silent room, desperation carving lines into his young face.
Please, Dad, don't do this. I love her. I love her more than I can say.
If I veto, I destroy my son's joy. If I don't, they will walk over me forever.
Hiroshi's gaze lifted past Riku to Reina, her face pale and stripped of all its earlier arrogance. Riku's hands trembled as they gripped Hiroshi's forearms, clinging to the man who had raised him.
You taught me what honor means. Please don't take this day from us.
How can I deny the boy who calls me dad? But to forgive without consequence invites contempt.
The hall held its breath, each second an eternity. The wedding's fate balanced on the edge of a single word.
I need to be the man he believes me to be, but I cannot be a doormat.
Hiroshi closed his eyes, the weight of love and retribution pressing down on his tired shoulders.
He won't do it, because he loves his stepson more than his own worthless pride. Security. Proceed, escort the disruption out. We have a wedding to continue.
The guards took a hesitant step forward, their eyes darting toward Mr. Aoki, who remained motionless.
He just proved my point. This family believes love is a weapon to exploit. You are right, Mr. Saito. I do love my son more deeply than you could ever comprehend.
A flicker of smug victory crossed the father's face, thinking he had won.
He won't stop it. But something is still wrong in my father-in-law's eyes.
Hiroshi took a slow, deliberate step forward, his voice rising just enough to fill the hall.
But love also demands that I protect him, even from those who call themselves family. I exercise my right under Clause 14. I veto this function. It is unbecoming to the spirit of this club.
A woman shrieked, Reina's mother, her pearl necklace rattling as she shot to her feet.
No, the embarrassment. You cannot do this to us.
Reina's legs buckled. She sank into her chair, her blush-pink gown crumpling around her. Riku stared at Hiroshi, his face a ruins of joy, mouth open, eyes wet, shoulders slumped.
You monster! How dare you ruin my daughter's wedding?
Guests erupted in whispers and gasps, champagne glasses overturned onto linen tablecloths. Mrs. Saito buried her face in her hands, weeping, her perfect composure shattered.
What have we done?
Hiroshi lowered the microphone, his hands steady, his heart a battlefield of love and sorrow. In the stunned silence, Reina pushed herself up from her chair, her legs trembling beneath the weight of her gown.
I'm so sorry. I was a fool, blinded by my family's pride and my own stubborn arrogance. I love Riku. Not his last name, not his money, just him. Just the man he is.
She stumbled toward Riku, her blush-pink gown catching on the chair, but she didn't stop. Riku caught her as she stumbled, her tears cascading onto his black tuxedo.
I don't care about this club or any of it. I just want him. Please believe me.
Reina, stop this nonsense. You're humiliating us even more.
Her father's protest hung unanswered. Reina clung to Riku, her confession raw and desperate. They held each other, the chaos of the room forgotten for a fragile, tear-soaked moment. Hiroshi watched Reina and Riku, and for the first time that evening, the tightness in his chest eased.
There is one more truth this room needs to hear.
From the portfolio, he drew a slim document, a lease agreement for office space in the adjoining tower.
Your nameplate is on a door, but the deed on this club has never borne your family's name.
How did you? That is confidential.
The paper trembled, a modest lease, witnessed decades ago, signed by the very board whose chair stood beside Hiroshi.
It is public record, Mr. Saito. I simply never had reason to mention it until now.
Reina's father stared at the damning signature of the previous board secretary, his world collapsing. His shoulders sagged. The bluster drained out of him, leaving a hollow, embarrassed shell. In the shattering quiet, Hiroshi folded the lease and set it on the table. The game was over. Mr. Saito turned to Hiroshi, and with trembling formality, bowed deeply from the waist, his head lower than it had ever been.
I was a fool, Hiroshi. I believed money and a name made us superior. I was wrong, deeply wrong.
He straightened only enough to face Riku and Reina, his voice a gravelly whisper of shame.
And to you too, I ruined your wedding day. I am so sorry.
Mrs. Saito rose, her pearl necklace askew, and crossed to her husband's side, tears carving tracks through her makeup.
Please forgive us. We have been blind, and we have hurt the people who matter most.
Hiroshi's stony composure softened at the edges, his eyes glistening with something between sorrow and relief. The heavy silence of the room was broken by a few quiet sobs from guests who had witnessed the humbling of a tyrant. The veto still hung in the air, but the ice had cracked. For the first time, forgiveness felt possible. Hiroshi turned to the microphone, his expression no longer guarded, but open with a father's love.
Under the authority I hold, I lift the veto. This wedding shall proceed. Love, not pride, built these halls. I will not let resentment tear down what I have loved for 30 years. I forgive you all. But from this moment I sit where I belong, at the head table, beside my family.
The honor returns to this hall, about time, old friend.
A staff member hurriedly carried a chair to the head table, placing it between Riku and Reina. Reina's father stepped forward hesitantly and extended a trembling hand toward Hiroshi.
Thank you, Hiroshi. I do not deserve this mercy.
We are family now. Let us start over, together.
With that, the veto dissolved, and the wedding began anew, not under false ownership, but under genuine love. Hiroshi rose from his new seat at the head table, a champagne glass glinting in his hand. The room hushed.
Riku was 10 when I first taught him to ride a bike. I never imagined I'd one day stand here, so proud of the man he became. Family is not the name on a door, but the love that opens it. Today, we open a new door together.
Wet eyes glistened across the room. Even Mr. Saito dabbed at his cheek with a handkerchief.
This club was built on dreams. But today, we build a new one, a family that includes everyone who loves.
He's truly remarkable.
Riku nodded, pulling her closer, his own tears mirroring hers as they raised their glasses. The room erupted in unified applause, glasses clinking like a chorus of new beginnings. Hiroshi lowered his glass, his smile a quiet triumph of the heart, a father's peace restored. Amidst fresh flowers, Riku and Reina stood again before the officiant. Hiroshi stood as their witness of honor. The officiant's voice echoed, "With this ring I thee wed." Their hands trembled with joy. They kissed, and the crowd erupted. Hiroshi's applause rose above all, his cheeks wet with pride. The three-tiered wedding cake gleamed under chandeliers as they cut the first slice together. Riku and Reina took the dance floor, swaying to the first notes of their song, lost in each other. Hiroshi watched from the head table, his heart full, his burden finally lifted. As they twirled, Reina glanced at Hiroshi and mouthed "thank you," a promise of a new bond. The party surged, But the strongest pillar was the quiet love of a father who had never wavered. Champagne flowed, laughter echoed, and for the first time, no one sat in the corner. The night was young, and the family, finally whole, danced together into the light. Reina slipped away from Riku's arms and approached the head table, her gown whispering against the marble.
Hiroshi, will you dance with me? I want to thank you properly.
It would be my honor, Reina.
They moved to the floor, his hand resting lightly on her back. The world narrowed to the two of them.
Thank you for not giving up on us. I want to call you father, if you'll let me.
Nothing would make me prouder. You have always been family in his heart, and now in mine.
They swayed gently, the tension of the day dissolving into a quiet, graceful forgiveness. From across the room, Mr. and Mrs. Saito watched, their hands clasped together, eyes glistening with remorseful hope. As the song ended, Reina embraced Hiroshi tightly, burying her face in his shoulder like a daughter coming home. Mr. Saito approached hesitantly as Reina returned to Riku's side, his navy suit still carrying the weight of defeat.
Hiroshi, I owe you more than an apology. You saved my daughter's happiness when I tried to destroy it.
You are her father, and now you are part of my family too. We all stumble. What matters is we stand back up together.
You are a better man than I, Hiroshi. I underestimated a good man for far too long.
Hiroshi extended his hand, not as a conqueror, but as a bridge. The gesture hung in the air, offering equality.
Welcome to the family, Saito-san.
Saito closed his eyes and bowed, a deep, grateful bow that spoke of genuine transformation. A few nearby guests watched with tearful smiles, witnessing two former adversaries become reluctant family. Hiroshi placed a brief, fatherly pat on Saito's shoulder, a wordless seal of a promise to begin anew. The music swelled, and the party continued, but the loudest note was the quiet truce between two fathers. As the last guests drifted away, Hiroshi stood with Riku and Reina in the quieting foyer. The air was gentle.
Dad, we actually did it. Everything turned out better than I hoped.
You did it, Riku. I just helped a bit. Your happiness is all I ever wanted.
Hiroshi's hand drifted to his pocket, where the old photograph and the leather portfolio rested side by side.
Your mother would have loved today. She always believed this family would be whole.
The marble crest on the wall caught the dim light, no longer a symbol of division, but of a foundation that had held.
I couldn't have done any of this without you, Dad. You've always been my anchor.
And you've given me more than you know, son. A family that finally sees each other.
Hiroshi smiled, a quiet peace settling over him, the weight of years transformed into the lightness of belonging. Outside the grand entrance, a vintage car awaited, white ribbons fluttering in the evening breeze. Reina and Riku paused at the door, showered in a cascade of rice thrown by smiling guests. Hiroshi stood beside the Saitos, a united front, two families now one, blinking back happy tears.
Father, we'll be back before you know it.
Take all the time in the world. We'll be here, waiting.
The photographer stepped forward and called out, "Everyone smile." A flash captured the final scene. The shutter clicked, the newlyweds framed by the grand marble foyer, with Hiroshi's proud smile anchoring the image. Riku and Reina ducked into the car, their laughter trailing behind them like the last notes of a perfect song. As the car pulled away, rice scattered like confetti, and Hiroshi's wave didn't drop until the taillights vanished. He turned back toward the club, where the crest on the wall now reflected the smile of a man who had found his belonging. Sometimes the family you build is stronger than the one you're born into. In the end, the most important seat at any wedding is the one in the heart, and for Hiroshi, that seat had never been empty. It had waited patiently to be seen. He touched the marble crest one last time, fingertips tracing the same lines he once drew. The walls of this club held 30 years of his silence. Tonight, they echoed with his peace. No longer the forgotten stepfather. No longer the man in the corner. Just Dad. He turned toward the empty hall, his reflection clear in the polished floor. A man who had never been invisible. In the architecture of love, every pillar matters, and his had carried the weight of a family. A quiet exhale. The camera lingers on his peaceful smile, then slowly fades to black.